In Chapter 7, we depart from Waterford, New York, and enter the Erie Barge Canal, stopping for the night at the town of Amsterdam's Riverlink Park. Departing from Amsterdam, we lock through E11 just upstream from town, resting for the night at Little Falls, New York. From Little Falls, we motor up the canal 50 miles further, tying up for the night at Lock 21. From Lock 21, we begin the descent to Lock E22. We pass through the 7 locks of the Oswego Canal, docking at Oswego Marine on Lake Ontario. With the boat's mast restored to its vertical position, we set out 75 miles to cross Lake Ontario to our home port of Cobourg, from where we departed on Down East Circle 6 seasons ago. New York's Governor DeWitt Clinton proposed a canal be built from the Hudson River to the Great Lakes in the early 1800s. The Erie Canal then took 7 years to build, cutting through 363 miles of wilderness, using more than 80 locks and rising 560 feet from the Hudson River to Lake Erie. Traveling up the 5 Waterford locks 170 vertical feet in the rain made for a long day, fending off the canal's steep walls and handling gummy lock lines as we waited for each chamber to fill. We had purchased a 10-day canal pass at Waterford, and at each lock had to advise the lock keeper of our transit number. It's advisable to hang as many fenders as you have between the often rough lock wall and your vessel. We used 3 or 4 large cylindrical fenders amidships with 2 hefty round Norwegian NB60s at Phantasia's bow and stern. Amsterdam Town Dock was a pleasant surprise. It uses a novel phone check-in system that gives you a numeric code you then use to retrieve the house key from a lockbox when arriving after hours, as we did. We spent a quiet evening on their sturdy docks chatting with some sailors from Montreal who were making their way downstream and then to the Intercoastal to spend the winter in the Bahamas. With the interstate highway close beside, we sailed on from Amsterdam the next day, as the occasional car or truck tooted hello from the road. We passed only a little traffic on the canal, a few sailboats outbound towards the Atlantic, and several canal maintenance crews, dredging shallow spots and extracting driftwood that might snag a passing yacht.
Just through Lock 16. Get it? No, not quite. Yeah, I think we're clear, Jane.
Late in the day we passed into, then up and through Lock 17, as the sun began to dip behind the tall trees and steep cliffs that surround Little Falls.
What a beautiful spot. It is. And you'll love the facilities. Cannot believe it.
Passing through mile after mile of tree-lined canal the next day, with the engine churning up the canal's muddy waters and throbbing in our ears, we spied kingfishers chattering from the banks and passed several small boats engaged in fishing. With the sun again fading, we tied up to overnight on the lock wall just east of E21, the lock that marks the turning point in the lie of the land. Once through this lock, we would begin losing elevation towards Lake Oneida's east entrance, only a few miles further on. This stop offered us a chance to climb off the boat and meet one of the lock keepers and inspect the powerful and elegant turn-of-the-century mechanisms that open and close the gates.
This is like a giant winch.
It felt good to gaze westward from on top of the lock gate towards the setting sun, knowing soon the canal would take us back to our home on Lake Ontario. The next day's crossing of Lake Oneida gave us a welcome 25-mile break from line handling and fending off in the locks. On the west side of the lake we passed through Lock E23. A little further on from there, the Erie meets the Oswego Canal at the Three Rivers Junction. where we turned north, entering Lock 01 of the 7-lock Oswego Canal. With 7 p.m. approaching, we were getting too tired to stand as Lake Ontario popped into view from the top of Lock 06. From here we gently descended through Locks 7 and 8 towards Lake Ontario.
Thanks again.
Saturday the 20th of August, as it turned out, was not a good day to get a mast reinstalled. We were informed we would have to wait until Monday before they could help us, because their mast crane operator had been promised the weekend off. But as luck would have it, the crane operator happened by and, taking pity on us, said he would try and help us install the mast later that day. By 3 p.m. we had the mast back on the boat and we were underway, heading north under the searing summer sun into wide blue Lake Ontario.
What was my course to steer?
I believe it's 305.
305.
Does that seem right? So here we are back in Lake Ontario for the first time in 6 years, 6 seasons. 305.
By the time we crossed the main Lake Ontario shipping lanes at about 2200 hours, we had most of the sails and their accompanying lines rigged, but the mast was not really ready to withstand the strain placed on it by sailing, so we motored through the night, arriving back at our home port of Coburg at 0430, having dodged commercial shipping through much of the night. Secured to the wall at Coburg's Heritage Harbour, we got a few hours of much-needed sleep. We had decided that with Down East Circle now complete, and I needing to be back at work on the coming Monday, we would sail 60 miles west to Toronto and spend the rest of August tied up downtown. It turned out to be the perfect way to end our 6 seasons of Down East Circle adventure. Catching up with work and friends, reflecting on the past month's voyage, and not having just yet to leave our vagabond life and move back ashore.